responsabilité yi mu yoré machallah fele ca New York waaye fu mënoon a toog gàmm la waaye yàlla dafay def bés bu jot mu ñëw fii wax dëgg yàlla teewal ñu fii jëmmal bés bi ñu ko ci ñaanal nag sa borom defal ko ci tawfiq defal ko ci fan wu gudd ak wér ak yokku xam-xamam yokku wërsëgam ak yokku léppam lu baax mu yàgg nu fee fekk insha allah ci jàmm ñuy def lu mel nii kon nag dañ leen koy présenté muy comme ni ma ko waxee rek muy sunu waayjur di waayjur ci Alhagie Jallow mi donc muy Hafiz Jallow kon moom wax dëgg yàlla ñëw na ngir bés bu jot rek nampatal nañu ci yoonu l'islam wi waxal ñu ci jikko yenent bi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mi ngi feggoog nag sëriñ Cheikh Gueye Cheikh it mu doon koo xamante ne nii wax dëgg yàlla ku ñu jàppale la ci diine ndax am na téere yu bari buñ daan ñëw ci daayira bi yàlla day def moom moo ñu koy nafaral di ñu ko expliquer def ko ay thèmes yu yàgg yoo xamante ni lu mel ne Laxdariyu ak yeneen yoo xam ne nii jàppale nañu ci kon sëñ Cheikh it yow ñu ngi lay sant bu baax a baax sama borom dëgëral sa teewaay waaw tey sant ñëpp rek xam naa damay daal di joxe kàddu gi incha allah bu ko defee Ustaz ubbi ba kii rek bu ko defee laaj yeeg ak lépp li nga xam ne moom la ñu waxtaanee kon bismillah.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا وحبيبنا مولانا محمد عليه السلام الله وعلى آله وأزواجه وذرياته ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين يسرني أن أعود عليكم مرة أخرى لقضاء مولد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في مدينة أوكلاهوما خاصة في دوائركم المحبودة أنتهي إلى مضيف الحاج علي جلو وزوجته بين داك جي وذريتهم ودائرة المريدية والدائرة التجانية وجميع إخوان المسلمين في مدينة أوكلاهوما وفي الولايات المتحدة بصفة عامة. My brothers and sisters, after thanking the Lord Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guiding us in the religion of Islam and to giving us faith, to giving us knowledge and strength, and to keeping us in Islam. We also pray on the Muhammad, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, to his companion, to his spouses, to anybody who follow his footsteps all the way to the end of mankind. We discussed before we come here in what language we're going to conduct this conference today, this conversation. Usually, we used to do it in Wolof, but we realized almost everybody speaks English, or can catch up something from English, and most of our children don't benefit. And gatherings that like this, we are conducting them once a year, or maybe once in 2 years. It's very rare. So, we dedicated that it would be better to try to conduct it in English. So our children will benefit. They will hear about the religion, about the Lord, the Prophet, what's good, what's bad, what is supposed to be a good behavior, a good manner for a Muslim person. This night is the night of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We call it Mawlid Nabi. A lot of people are against, some are pro, but we praise our Prophet. We definitely do, we love him. He was born in the city of Mecca. He spent 40 years in Mecca before reaching the Prophet. his father Abdullah passed away before he was born. And he lost his mother, some people are saying 4 years, some are saying 6 years after he was born. So he was orphaned early. But luckily, he has an uncle who loved him very much. His name was Abu Talib. But his grandfather named him Muhammad. Muhammad means the one that everybody thanks. And his grandfather was not a Muslim because Islam wasn't there before. And they were not Jewish, neither Christian, they were just animists. Whenever Al-Quran says, Ya ayyuhan nas, or Ya ayyuhal kafirun, or kafirun, it means the kuffar of Mecca, the atheists of Mecca. When it says Ahlul Kitab, Yahud and Christians, those who are given book. So we will talk about his life a little bit, if we can squeeze in the lot of time that we have. His life in Medina, about the kuffar of Mecca, the Yahud and the hypocrites of Medina, and then the Sharafatu ala Jamil Anbiya wal Mursaleen. Also his age on top of all the prophets. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say you are better than this or you are higher than this, but examples are in the Quran that can guide us, that can give us one conclusion. As we said, all mankind, everything that Allah created, the light of the Prophet Muhammad, Nur Muhammad, was the first thing that he created. He took it out of him, and then he left it there for many years that only Allah knows. Before creating, from his light, he created the rest of the mankind. One day he was talking with Jibril alayhi salam, and then Jibril told him there were a discrepancy between who's older. The Prophet sallallahu asked him, what thing can you remember? The oldest thing that you can remember in your life. And remember, Jibril alayhi salam was the one who was bringing the messages from Allah to the Prophet. Jibril think a little bit and then told him, I remember I used to see a light. I used to see it every 70,000 years once. And whenever the light comes, I used to see a group of creators coming from this side, going this side. And they are worshipping Allah in one name. And I saw that group and that light for 400,000 times. So if you multiply 70,000 to 400,000, it will give you 28 billion times. So this is what Jibril told him. I saw that light 28 billion times. The Prophet told him that light was the light of my ruh. Then Jibril knew that despite that he thinks physically he is older than the Prophet, which is true, because Adam is older than the Prophet. He is the son of Adam, grandson of Adam. But when you come to spiritual, the light of the Prophet, Jibril saw it 28 billion times before their encounter. So he is the oldest thing that Allah created. And to give you a hint how the Prophet ﷺ is important, how high it is, we just give you a little bit of comparisons in the Quran. As I told you, the only time Allah praised him in the Quran is when he told him, Innaka la'ala khuluqin azim. He didn't tell him you have a lot of knowledge, you are a handsome person, you are a hero, you have a lot of knowledge. No. The only thing that he praised him, you have a good character. So people, my fellow brothers in Islam, work on your character. Work on the way you behave, the way you interact with your spouses, the way you interact with your family, the way you interact with your fellow Muslims and your neighbors, even if they are not Muslims. Work on your character. A good character is the most important person after Iman. We come to Nabiullah Nuh alayhi salam. He called his people for 950 years. He is calling them into submitting themselves into Islam, to believing in Allah and to believing in Him and the Day of Judgment. For 950 years, only few answered his call. If all of them refused to answer him, and they had a method to deny him, to make him like a foolish. They used to come to him and bring their families and say to their children, you see this old man, anything he tell you, don't believe it. This is what my father told me, this is what my grandfather told him, and this is what I want you to tell to your children. So they were inheriting the denial. That's why a lot of people did not believe him. And he was also the first prophet. It's not easy to one person come the first time on earth to say, I am a prophet from Allah. You have to leave what you do, stop what you're doing and believe in Allah. Even one of his children, Canaan, refused to believe he was among the kuffar. Then Nuh alayhi salam, he used to go, in the Quran he said, قال المرء من قومه إنا لنراك في ضلال مبين. These people used to tell him, we think you are in a stage of perdition. You are crazy. You are you are an ignorant. He used to give himself his answer. His answer was, قال يا قوم ليس بي ضلالة ولكني رسول من رب العالمين. I'm not crazy. I am a prophet from the one who created the mankind, the whole creation. So he answered by himself. أبلغكم رسالات ربي وأنصح لكم وأعلم من الله ما لا تعلمون. I'm giving you the message that I get from my Lord, and I know from Allah many things that you don't know. So he is the one who gave his answer, his own answer. We go to Nabiullah Hud alayhi salam. He was sending the people called arts, people of arts in the Quran. He also told him people, when he called them to Allah, they said, they say, we think you are a fool. You are a foolish person. And we think you are a liar. They refuse to believe him. And they also called him long time, not as long as Noah, but they called him a couple of years. He told them, I'm not a foolish person. I'm calling you, I'm giving you the message from my Lord, and I know Allah from the Lord, and I'm giving you advice. So you can deny him, he was given his country. We jump now to Nabiullah Ibrahim. There are some prophets between these prophets, but most of them are not named in the Quran. Quran, they named only 25 prophets. And they are 124,000 of them. So we just pick few because of the time. We were supposed to start 9:25 and now it's 10 after 10. So we will try to squeeze as much as we can during this short period of time. Now we go to Nabiullah Ibrahim. He also called his people to worship Allah alone and to stop worshipping idols. And among his people were his own father. He asked Allah, he is the one who asked his Lord, please help me and my children to we don't worship idols. Allah told him, he answered some of his prayers, but he told him, people who are called zalim, who commit sin, will not have my mercy. So Ibrahim knew among his grandchildren, some will be kuffar definitely. As for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, now we go to the comparison. As for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he did not ask. Now you remember, Nabiullah Ibrahim is one who asked, but the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah gives him before he asked. So here we know what is the difference between Habib and Khalil. Ibrahim was Khalilullah in the Quran. He is a friend of Allah. Khalil, whenever he asks, his Khalil will give him. As for Habib, he is given before asking, or he is given without asking. These are the comparison between them. And so the Prophet ﷺ, without asking, Allah tell him in the Quran, إِنَّا فَتَحْنَا لَكَ فَتْحًا مُبِينًا لِيَغْفِرَ لَكَ اللَّهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنبِكَ وَمَا تَأَخَّرَ وَيُتِمُّ نِعْمَتَهُ عَلَيْكَ وَيَهْدِيكَ صِرَاطًا مُسْتَقِيمًا وَيَنْصُرَكَ اللَّهُ نَصْرًا عَزِيزًا. You remember, Ibrahim is the one who asked. Allah gave him some and let him know that some of them will definitely be kuffar and la yanalu ahdi al-zalimin. As the Prophet ﷺ, Muhammad, Allah told him, I opened the big opening for you, so I can forgive you your previous sin and your last sins. And so I can complete my ni'mah upon you, and I straighten you to the Sirat al-Mustaqim, and I will help you a very big help, Nasna Azizan. But most of these last words, when they are told to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, they are meant to us, his ummah, because he has no dhanb, he never committed sin, neither before nor after. So you see the comparison here. So Allah is telling us He will help us, a big help, so we will conquer the whole world. Most of the people of the world, even in the Oklahoma City now, a whole bunch of people are Muslims. We're going to count on them. Now Ibrahim Khalilullah, he's the one who said, asked Allah to raise his voice, to raise his name, so he will be known. As for the Prophet ﷺ, without asking, Allah told him, وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. We raise your name, so everybody will hear Muhammad, Ahmad. Before you enter into Islam, before a kafir enter into Islam, what he says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu. The next thing is Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. When the muazzin is calling the adhan, the call to go to prayer, when he says Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, the next thing he said is Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. When you make iqamah in prayer, when you say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, the next thing you say is Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. So Allah told him, وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. Without asking, Allah told him that I am the one who raised your name. When you go to Tahiyyah, when you say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. So in comparison, he is not equal to them. He is in a higher position. And Allah, Ibrahim is the one who said, Inni dhahibun ila rabbi sayahdin. When he called these people several times, and among them his father, several times they threw him in fire, they did allowed him, they tortured him. When he couldn't handle it anymore, none of them answered him. He said, Inni dhahibun ila rabbi sayahdin. He migrated from the south of Iraq in the city named Ur all the way to Jerusalem. Walking or riding horse or riding donkey, anyway, it was not sweet, it wasn't easy that day. With his nephew Nabiullah Lut, they walked all the way to Jerusalem. As for the Prophet ﷺ, Allah tell us in the Quran, Subhanalladhi asra bi abdihi laylan min al-masjid al-haram ila al-masjid al-aqsa alladhi barakna hawlahu linuriyahu min ayatina innahu huwa samiul basir. Without asking, without saying, I am going, Allah said, praise the Lord, praise me the Lord. I am the one who took my servant from the Masjid al-Aqsa, from Masjid al-Haram, from Mecca, ila al-Masjid al-Aqsa to Jerusalem, so we can show him some of our miracles. Those miracles between Mecca and Jerusalem is a miracle, but from there he took him all the way to him. He invited him to him and then brought him back in one day. So Ibrahim is the one who said, I am going to my Lord, but the Prophet ﷺ is, Allah said, Subhanallah asra bi abdihi laylan. So in comparison, there is no equal, even if they are all prophets of Allah. The difference is there. Our prophet is definitely the best. Now we jump to Sulaiman alayhi salam. He said, Rabbi akhfirli wa habli mulkan la yanbaghi li ahadin ba'di innaka antal wahhab. He asked Allah forgive me, my Lord, and give me a kingdom, a kingdom. No one will have a equal that kingdom after me all the way to the end of mankind. Allah give him a good kingdom, but Allah said, I trained the wind that takes him anywhere he want to go. In another ayah, he says, غُدُوهَا شَهْرٌ وَرَوَاهَا شَرٌ وَأَصَلْنَا أَيْدَ الْخِدْرِ وَمِنَ الْجِنِّ مَنْ يَعْمَلُ بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِ وَمَنْ يَزِغْ مِنْهُمْ فَإِنَّهُ نُذِيقُهُ مِنْ عَذَابِ السَّعِيرِ. Allah gave him the kingdom that he wanted, the royal that he wanted. He told the wind to take him anywhere he wanted to go. And he also asked the jinn, the shaitan, to be going inside the sea to dig goals to Sulaiman alayhi salam. So he gave him bounty, anything that is more than what he thought Allah will give him. And those jinn also, Allah told them, gave them order, anyone that refused to follow Sulaiman's order, I will torture you. So all is one among the kingdom of Sulaiman. As for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not his worship, his calling also into Islam is only 23 years. And during those 23 years, 13 years was in Mecca. It was a lot of headache. The Muslims were hiding. They are being beaten. They are being chased away. Their wealth are being seized. Their camels, their houses. Until he told them to migrate to Ethiopia, to Habash. And then when they came back, he received the order to migrate to Medina. But look now, Allah told Sulaiman, غُدُوهَا شَهْرٌ وَرَوَاهَا شَهْرٌ. He gave the wind to tell him where he wanted to go. He will go from Habasha to Sabah 1 month and then 1 month to come back. But the Ummati Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what Allah gave them, He gave her jumbo jets. I just flew from New York to here in 3 hours. You know, you are inside the plane. You can make cell phone, you can make texts, you can order food, you can, do a lot of things. These are the Ummah Muhammad are given. Nowadays, we have satellite and fly all the way to the moon and then show us gas, so on metal, so on petrol, all the way in the ground. So Suleiman has the jinn that was go to the sea to dig gold, but now satellite is telling us machines are digging. Everything is being, this is the gift of Ummah Muhammad. So who is better? Who is more important? Who is more, more gifted? Definitely is the Ummah Muhammad. What he gave to the other prophets is what he gave to the Ummah Muhammad. One day he was talking to a knowledgeable Yahudi, a faqih. He told him, like, fuqaha Ummah Muhammad, awliya ummati ka anba'u bani Israel. Like the people of knowledge of my ummah, they are equal to the anbiya of Banu Israel. And the Banu Israel, they challenged him. He said, example 1. He told him, like this guy. He was sitting with one of his knowledge, one of his disciples. The anbiya Bani Adam. He said, how? How can you prove it to me? He said, ask him a question. And then the Yahudi asked the Sahaba one question. The Sahaba gave him 10 answers. He said, no, this is not correct. One question had to have one answer. He said, why then, when the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked the Prophet Musa, ma biyaminika ya Musa, he said, Giri asaya atawakkaw biha wa akhshu ala ghanami wa li fiha ma'arib ukhra. One question, 4 answers. Allah just asked him, what is in your hand? He said, it's my stick. It helped me, with my cattle, and I also use it a lot. He gave 4 answers anyway. It's not easy for me in the English to interpret these words in English, but the answer was 4 answers. So then the Yahudi knew, then the ulama Ummah Muhammad ka anbiya Banu Israel. And we also try to talk to the life of the Prophet in Mecca. He said he spent in Mecca 13 years, 53 years, 40 years before he was sent, and then 13 years after he was sent. His father was Abdullah, his mother Ummah, and then Abu Talib raised him. Abu Talib was the father of Abdullah, and Abdul Muttalib, and Abbas, and Abu Lahab, and a whole bunch of kids. One of them was Abu Talib. Abu Talib was the father of Sayyidina Ali. He is the one who raised the Prophet. He did not take Shahada, but he protected the Prophet. So the Prophet also has 7 children. 4 of them was girls, 3 boys. All of them passed away in young age. Only Fatima alayhi salam is the one who gave us the siblings of the Prophet. The people that we have Shurafa today, they came from Fatima alayhi salam. He has also Sahabas who helped him from Makkah to Medina. Some of them migrated, Abu Bakr migrated with him, and then the other one followed later. His closest Sahabas were 4 of them: Abu Bakr Siddiq, Umar ibn al-Khattab, Uthman ibn Farooq, and then Ali ibn Abi Talib. The 2 gave him their daughter as wives, like Abu Bakr and Umar, and he gave the other 2 his daughter also as wife. He gave Uthman his daughter, he passed away, and he gave him another one. He said, if I had 100 girls, I will give him the day that I will give him all the way to the last one. And Ali ibn Abi Talib was given Fatima alayhi salam, anha. And then you have also Hamza, he was also one of his uncles. Bilal was a freed slave. Abu Huraira, one of his cousins. Ja'far, his cousin, was the elder brother of Ali ibn Abi Talib. You have Talha, and many more. As for Kuffar of Makkah, the atheists of Makkah, the Kuffar of Makkah, the most known among them were Umar ibn Hisham, known as Abu Jahl. He was the uncle of Umar ibn al-Khattab. And then you have Ubad ibn Mu'ayshin, is the one who choked the Prophet when he was praying. He was put dirt on top of him. You have Ubay ibn Khalaf. You have Umayyah ibn Khalaf. You have Hashi ibn Wa'il, Uthwat ibn Rabi'ah, Wali ibn Mughira, the big kafir of Makkah. And then despite that, he was the father of the hero Khalid ibn Walid. That's why it wasn't comfortable to name some names in front of the Sahabas, because their fathers did horrible things in Makkah, so they were just keeping silent when their children was around. And then you have Abu Lahab. Abu Lahab was also one of the uncles of the Prophet. They got that Abu Lahab, his original name is Abu Uzza, but Al-Quran cannot say Muslim is not a nice name. So it's just like this and Allah. So the Prophet named him Abu Lahab because he was handsome. They named him Abu Lahab. He was also one of the uncles of the Prophet ﷺ. And then you have Abu Sufyan ibn Harb. He was a big businessman. Later on, the Prophet married his daughter, and then he ended up taking Shahada. And then you have, he was the one who followed him in the Habas, trying to bring them back, but he wasn't successful. And then you have Abbas, was also one of the uncles of the Prophet, who also later took Shahada. And then after Kuffar Madin, or we can say Ahlul Kitab of Madin, because before the Prophet migrate to Madin, he already sent an ambassador there. He helped all of them, most of them take Shahada. There were 2 groups of people in Medina. They are called Aus and Khazraj. So the ambassador of the Prophet helped them take Shahada. He was teaching them Islam, the Quran, the judgment of the Quran, Sharia and Hadith, Qada'id. So when the Prophet migrated to Medina, almost all of them were Muslimin. So he named them Al-Ansar. the one who helped welcome the Muslims. So there's no more Aus and Khazraj. When they were Aus and Khazraj, in the time of Kuffar, they fought between the two groups 120 years. So Islam ended that war. Islam ended the name of Aus and Khazraj, and the Prophet named them Al-Ansar. So one group is Ansar, and then there were two groups of Jewish who heard that one day the last prophet will born in Mecca, but sooner or later he will migrate to Medina. So they said, let's migrate to Medina. We wait him there. When he comes, we take Shahada, and then we harbor his religion. We continue, because the Torah told them about the Prophet, though they knew him a lot before he come, before he is revealed. So when he migrated to Medina, there were two groups of Yahud, Banu Qurayza and Banu Nadir. They were rivals among them. So when he came, their leader was Abdullah ibn Salam. He was the leader of the Jewish. He was the more knowledgeable one. He was the biggest preacher. The moment he saw the Prophet, immediately he took Shahada. But the Jewish challenged him. We have our book. We are the oldest. Why you take Shahada without, asking him, without challenging him a couple of questions? He said, no, this man doesn't need question. We already know him in the Torah. The moment I saw his face, I know this is the man the Torah was describing. So I don't need to challenge. I don't need to ask any question. I know him more than I know my own children. Because even my children, maybe my wife betrayed me. But this one there, I have no doubt. So the Jewish refused to believe. They refused to take Shahada. They went back and then take another leader called Ka'ab ibn al-Asraf. Ka'ab ibn al-Asraf, he did a lot of damage. He did a lot of damage in Islam. He did a lot of bad things. He was the last chief of the group of the two group of Jewish, Al-Aus and Khazraj. قوله تعالى الذين آتيناهم الكتاب يعرفونه كما يعرفون أبناءهم وإن فريقا منهم ليكتمون الحق وهم يعلمون. When Abdullah ibn Salam took Shahada without asking any question, Allah gave him an ayah in Quran. Those whom I gave the book, they knew the Prophet as they know their children. الذين آتيناهم الكتاب يعرفونه كما يعرفون أبناءهم. They know the Prophet exactly the way they know their children. وإن فريقا منهم, but some group of them لا يكتمون الحق, they hide the truth. They know he's the Prophet, but they are hiding their knowledge. وهم يعلمون, and they know. They ended up being kuffar. The losses in their side. During his journey in Medina, the jihad started. He went a couple of, as we said at the beginning, in resume of what we just said about his life, he has a couple of battles. They call Ghazwat Badr, Ghazwat Uhud, Ghazwat Bani Nadir, Ghazwat Handaq, Sulh Hudaybiyah, Ghazwat Khaybar, Fathu Makkah, Ghazwat Hunayn, and Ghazwat Tabuk. That was his last Ghazwa. Ghazwa means battle in war. Is mean war. So the first war that he did is his second year in Medina. When he migrated to Medina, the second year was the war of Badr. And then the third year was the war of Uhud. In his third year. The fourth year was the Banu Nadir, the Ghazwat Banu Nadir. And then Khandaq, when the people of Mecca, in the leadership of what's his name again? The leadership of Abu Sufyan ibn Harb, attack the Prophet without without announcing. But the Prophet has a Sahaba that came from Iran named Salman al-Farisi. You are the oldest one among the Sahaba. What do you know about this? You came from Faris. You are people of, of war, war. He told, Salman told him, when we have a sudden war attack like this, what we do is we dig, trenches. So they dug trenches surrounding Medina, except in the two areas where there were some mountain. So when the Kuffar came, their horses and camels and donkeys couldn't jump past the trenches. So they stayed there a couple of days, sending flashes, sending, hitting each other. Sometimes they hit, sometimes they lost, but they couldn't attack the Prophet. That's the Ghazwat of Khandaq. It's called Khandaq. That one happened in Medina. The Muslims did not go out. No, the Kuffar came to them. It happened in Medina. And then Abu Sufyan told the Prophet, well, you escaped me this time, but I swear by the Lord, I will come back and I will conquer you. The Prophet said, I swear by the Lord, I will sit you one day and I will call you into Allah and you will take Shahada. And then you have Sulh Hudaybiyah, when the Prophet had the dream that he saw him, making a tawaf around the Kaaba, and the dream of the Prophet is a wahy. And then all the Sahabas were happy. They thought they were going back to their original city, Mecca. They will see their family again. They will see their houses and all those things that they lost. Maybe they will conquer them. But when they were all the way to Hudaybiyah, the Prophet ﷺ sent a messenger. The people of Makkah refused to welcome him. The messenger came back. They did what they called a sulh. Sulh means agreement. You give and take. I give you thing, a little bit. You give me a little bit. I take and then you take. So the Prophet has to go back because the people of Makkah, it was a surprise to them, and they didn't want to. Any history said that the Prophet came to Makkah by force. He forced them to, do tawaf in the Kaaba. So, and then they made the agreement. The Prophet went back to Medina without making the tawaf. And then you have also Fatih Makkah after that. Fatih Makkah, the Prophet came back by force. He entered Makkah. He do the tawaf, and then all the people, with the force that he came with, the kuffar of Makkah couldn't do anything. They just kept quiet. And then he told them, because of a good character that I told you at the beginning, I don't even blame you. Remember, imagine a person who chased you, chased your people, killed your people, took your wealth, took your house, took everything. Even his house that they took, he didn't reclaim it when he came back. He went to the grave of his late first wife, Khadija. He said, well, this grave of my wife is my house today. He spent the night there. That was his house until he came back. He didn't even reclaim his house back. He forgave them everything. Most of the people of Makkah took Shahada. Before that, remember, all those kuffar, big kuffar, all of them were killed. So the one who left took Shahada. And then you had Ghazwat Tabuk that was far away, more than 400 kilometers. Most of the Sahaba, some of the Sahaba refused to go, but most of them went. This one needed a lot of sponsorship. He asked anyone who can sponsor this battle, so Allah will forgive you. Sayyidina Osman gave 1,000 camel, 1,000 horses, and anything that goes with them, and 1,000 dinar of zahab, 1,000 pieces of gold of zahab, because of dinar. And the Prophet was switching them from his left hand and his right hand. He was saying, Wallahi la darra Usman ma fa'ala ba'da al-yawm. Anything Usman did from today on all the way to the end of his life, it will not harm him. This is the person of Jannah. The Prophet ﷺ prayed Isha. He sit and praying, asking Allah to forgive Usman all the way to the Fajr. The whole night he prayed, asking for Allah to forgive Usman alayhi salam. So, and then you have Hijjatul Wida, that's what the 10th year of Hijrah is the last Hijjah. Is also he gave his Khutbatul Wida, the khutbah that the Prophet ﷺ, the last khutbah that he gave to the people of Islam, and this also the An'am came in the last khutbah, the same khutbah. And you saw is one of the, as you know, is one of the longest surahs in Quran. And then he passed away during his 11th year of Hijrah. Alayhi salam. He passed away in his house, in the room of his wife Aisha, the daughter of the Prophet, the Sahaba Abu Bakr Siddiq. And he remember, and also she is the only one wife that who took was a virgin. All the ones was ex-wife of Sahabas. He just took them, so they can, suffer, to help them and teach them. So as he said, the first school of, he was just teaching them Islam. The first school of Quran is the house of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So as we said, the character, when one of the Sahabas asked the Aisha alayhi salam, what was the character of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? She told him, read the Quran, read the book. If you read the Quran, you know the Prophet. The only thing, anything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited from doing in the Quran, the Prophet wasn't touching it, is not touching it. And any character, good character that he praised, or Allah other people to do, that was his life. So if you want to know the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, read the book. If you want to know his Sahabas, if you want to know good things, you want to have knowledge, read Hadith. So Al-Quran is knowledge, is also worshipping. If you read in the Quran, you're having knowledge, you're having thought. So my fellow, I cannot thank you enough. The time doesn't allow us to go further because we always 11 o'clock. As I told you, we squeeze as much as we can, and then you have to leave a session for question and answer. You have scholars in front of me and myself, and anybody who can answer or anybody who have a question, you are quite welcome. This is the little contribute that I had to share with you. As I told you, you pass a lot of scholars. Among you have a lot of scholars, you can invite them. But you are jumping here, you are going all the way to New York, inviting me every day. So I cannot thank you enough. The women are cooking every day, they are worshiping, they are dressing nice, they are coming to attend. We also have to praise them, we have to guide them, we have to have mercy on them. All these are teaching of Quran. And our children, you're going to make somebody a Muslim if you don't teach him Quran. There's no way one can be a Muslim without the book. You have to read the Quran. If you don't read it, you cannot read Fatiha, you cannot read Falaq, you cannot read Nas, you cannot pray at all. And لا فرق بين المؤمن والكافر إلا ترك الصلاة. If you call yourself a Muslim and you don't establish 5 times daily prayers, you are fooling yourself. You are a fasiq. Fasiq is a one who believes in Allah, he believes in the Prophet ﷺ, he believes in days of judgment, he believes anything that the Quran says, but he is not following. Either he is not abstaining from doing bad things, or he is not doing his things that he is ordered to do. That is called fasiq. But he has been lying in fasiq. Fasiq is going to hell. Munafiq is the opposite of fasiq. The munafiq is the one who saw outside that he believes in Allah, he believes in the Prophet, but deep down he doesn't believe. When the Muslim pray, he pray. When they give zakat, he give. They say la ilaha illallah, he say la ilaha illallah. He is fooling himself. This is fasiq, a munafiq. As kafir is the one who says, I refuse to believe. I don't believe in nothing. These are the kuffar. Their judgment is easy. They are people of hell. Fasiq his judgment is easy. He's fooling himself. He's going to hell. But the munafiqeen is the one who are hiding. They are the one who delay. They are the one who delay themselves. They are the one who's doing either his ayah, their judgment, anything Allah says in them, even Yawm al-Qiyam, their thing is wrong. But he has been like 3 of them. Kafir is not good, Munafiq is not good, Fasiq is no good. All three are people of hellfire. If you want to save your children, teach them Al-Quran, let them know Allah, teach them Hadith, spend time with them, force them to pray, force them to read, force them to behave good. Before you tell them, show them the right way, you have to work on yourself first. Work on your character. You have to be waking up early in the morning, praying on time. Remember, inna salata kana ala mu'mina kitaban mawqutan. Prayer are specific appointed times. You cannot pray the prayer before the time, no. Unless you have excuse, genuine excuse, then you can gather Zuhr and Asr, Maghrib and Isha. But all the other ones you have to pray specific on time. So work on yourself, fashion yourself first, and then work on your children. Your wife also, your spouse, is your responsibility. Wake up in the morning, my wife, get up, it's time to pray. This is how you help your wife. My wife, a miskin is asking sadaqah. Give sadaqah if you have it. My wife is Ramadan, we have to fast. Sometimes women cannot fast, sometimes they cannot pray. But help them, teach them the deen. If you don't teach them the deen, they will just be going astray, doing bad things, and it's your responsibility. So this thing that you are doing here is good, but this is a thing of one day. Mawlid Nabi. We are happy to praise our Prophet, Alhamdulillah. But after it is past, Islam is every single day. Islam is every moment. Unless you die, unless you lose your mind, Salat will not be annulled. Maybe you cannot fast because you are sick, or you have an excuse. Allah is telling you, take a loan. You are traveling, you are sick, take a loan. After that, you pay. You have to take zakat. You have to take out zakat. If you have income, enough income, you take zakat. If you don't have, it's not your business. If you don't have, maybe you have to collect zakat. So you have excuse. Hajjul Bayti man istata'a sabilan is mandatory to every Muslim if able, physically, financially, morally, to perform it once in your lifetime, at least one. If you cannot do it, financially you are disabled, you are not able, physically you are not able, you are forgiven. But salat, unless you lose your mind, unless you become crazy, or you are in sukrat, in a dead bed, you have to perform salat. Either you sit performing it, you lay down, you do it with your eyes, or you just imagine how to do it. As far as your brain is functioning properly, you have to perform salat. So, la farqa bayna mu'min wal kafir illa li tarki salat. There are no difference between Muslim and kafir except stopping praying. If you don't pray, you are a kafir. And remember, prayer, you cannot jump one, you cannot skip one. You have to do them all 5 every single day. May Allah help us. We also help our siblings to keep ourselves in Islam. May Allah help us become good Muslim. And when we pray, may Allah accept our prayers. May Allah accept our Ramadan. May Allah accept our Hajj, our Zakat. Zakat, a lot of people are neglecting it. They just forget it. But Zakat is mandatory. Wherever Allah said, Aqimu Salah, they are to Zakat. Iqamu Salah, it is Zakat. They go together. When the Prophet passed away, some of the Muslims wanted to neglect zakat, but Sayyidina Abu Bakr said, anyone who will give zakat, I will kill you. You are a kafir. So he insisted. So until today, zakat is mandatory. Don't come to America, you are working with a paycheck, putting in your bank account. No, you have to give zakat. Zakat is 1/10 of 4 of 1/10. If you want to calculate your zakat in mal, divide all the wealth that you have in 40. 1/40th of your wealth is zakat. And in every paycheck, you have to give zakat. If you're going to give every paycheck, at the end of the year, you have your net of the year, multiply by 40, take 1/40th zakat. Every single $100, you have $2.50 zakat. It's almost nothing. And this is a mandatory sadaqah. Sadaqah, Jariya, Sadaqah, Rumal, to give to the orphan, to help the poor. This is voluntary. But zakat is mandatory. I remind you. So these gatherings of Islam is not only talking about the life of the Prophet, it's not talking about preference of Prophet. We also take chance to teach ourselves and to remind people, وَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ ذِكْرَى تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah is saying in the Quran, remind people, because reminding is beneficial to mankind, is beneficial to the Muslim. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين. If anybody has a question, I'm passing to the microphone to Ustaz. He also has a very good scholar. He is very useful. Whenever I sit next to him, I learn a lot from him. And Imam Doi, all these are good people. And all of you, Jazakumullah khairan. May Allah help us keep our faith. May Allah help us teach our children our religion. May Allah help us. None of our children, none of our great-grandchildren will go astray. All of them, fi sabilillah, stay in Islam all the way to the end of mankind. Imam, whatever you can tell the people, your contribution is always praised. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.